Hello everyone. In the last video, we did Act 1, Scene 2 from lines 1 to 29, and now we will continue from line 30 onwards. Trumpets play. Everyone exits except Brutus and Cassius. So we saw that the soothsayer warns Caesar and Caesar dismisses that entire warning, and then everyone moves out of the stage. Trumpets play. Everyone exits except Brutus and Cassius. Now this part is very important because this is the part where Cassius starts playing his cards. He shows his manipulation to win over Brutus and recruit him for the conspiracy. Cassius, will you go see Order of the Course? Brutus, not I. I pray you do. Brutus, I am not gamesome. I do lack some part of that quick spirit that's in Antony. Let me not hinder you, Cassius, your desires. So Cassius tells Brutus, are you coming to watch the course of the race? Brutus says, no, I'm not. Cassius implores upon him, and then Brutus says, see, I'm not competitive, lively, and forthcoming like Antony is. So I'm not very gamesome. But again, Cassius, you go ahead. I don't want to stop you. And I'll leave you. Cassius, Brutus, I do observe you now of late. I have not from your eyes that gentleness and show of love as I was wont to have. You bear too stubborn and too strange a hand over your friend that loves you. So Cassius tells that, Brutus, I've been observing you very, recently, and I've seen that you are not as friendly as you used to be. You seem to be very distant towards a friend who actually loves you. Brutus, Cassius, be not deceived. If I have veiled my look, I turn the trouble of my countenance merely upon myself. Vexed I am of late with passions of some difference, conceptions only proper to myself, which give some soil perhaps to my behavior. So Brutus says that, I'm sorry, Cassius, it is not like that. Don't mistake this. If I have not shown my affection towards you, it is because I am a little preoccupied. It has nothing to do with you. The fault is not at your end. It's probably with me. I have been so preoccupied with myself that, it's affecting my behavior towards others. There are too many conflicting thoughts and emotions that are bothering me that it is probably affecting my behavior towards the other people who are around me. But let not therefore my good friends be grieved, among which number Cassius be you one, nor construe any further my neglect than that poor Brutus with himself at war forgets the show of love to other men. So he says, people like you who are my good friends, you should not consider this as anything else other than the fact that Brutus, who is at war with himself, which means that the conflicting thoughts, preoccupation with things that are going on in his mind, it is only because of that Brutus has not been able to show affection towards others and nothing else. Here Brutus emerges as a very conflicted character. He's torn between his loyalty to Caesar and his duty towards Rome. His melancholic disposition is very evident, right? When he tells Cassius, poor Brutus with himself at war, forgets the shows of love to other men. So this internal struggle is the key characteristic of Brutus, we can say, makes him very, very vulnerable, very susceptible to Cassius's manipulative rhetoric. Cassius, then Brutus, I have much mistook your passion, by means whereof this breast of mine had buried thoughts of great value, worthy cogitations. Tell me, good Brutus, can you see your face? So then Cassius immediately says, okay, I'm sorry, Brutus, I think I misunderstood your feelings, and because I was not getting that warmth and that reciprocation from your end, I have kept to myself a lot of very important thoughts, right? Then he kind of asks, Brutus, can you see your own face? Brutus, no, Cassius, for the eye sees not itself, but by reflection, by some other things. So Cassius, when questions Brutus that can you see your face, Brutus says, no, Cassius, that's not possible. You don't see yourself unless there is a medium to reflect it. We can only see ourselves in a mirror, not otherwise. Cassius, it's just, and it's very much lamented, Brutus, that you have no such mirrors as will turn your hidden worthiness into your eye, that you might see your shadow. I have heard where many of the best respect in Rome, except immortal Caesar, speaking of Brutus and groaning underneath this age's yoke, have wished that noble Brutus had his eyes. So Cassius is a sweet talker, okay? He's someone who can probably sell ice cubes to a Eskimo. That kind of a smooth talker he is. He says, exactly right. You cannot see yourself, and it's a shame that there are no such mirrors here which can show you your worthiness, Brutus. You don't see your own potential. And he says, it's not just me. I have heard many people in Rome, many respectable people in Rome. Of course, we have to keep aside the exception of immortal Caesar. He's trying to use that rhetoric. He says, of course, Caesar doesn't say this, but other than that, other respectable people in Rome have spoken very highly about you. And also, in the same breath, they have also talked about how worthy you are, and in spite of that, how we are in the current government ruled by Julius Caesar. And they were all in very subtle ways saying that it was wished that, probably you could see what is happening and did something about it. He's an expert manipulator. He preys on Brutus's sense of honor, and he flatters Brutus by suggesting that the noble Romans believe that Brutus is fit to lead them. Brutus, into what dangers would you lead me, Cassius, that you would have me seek into myself for that which is not in me? So Brutus also is an intelligent man, right? So he says, what dangers are you going to take me, Cassius? You're asking me to look into myself, which I think it's not in me. He knows his limitations. He says, I don't think I am that person to lead Rome. Cassius, therefore, good Brutus, be prepared to hear. And since you know you cannot see yourself so well as by reflection, I, your glass, will modestly discover to yourself that of yourself which you yet know not of. So he says, okay, Brutus, listen to me. And since you know that you need a reflection to see your own self, I will act as that reflecting medium. I will be that mirror, and I will show to you the parts of yourself which probably you're not aware of. And I will tell you absolute facts. And be not jealous on me, gentle Brutus, when I, a common laugher, or did us to stale with ordinary oaths my love to every new protester, if you know that I do fawn on men and hug them hard and after scandal them, or if you know that I profess myself in banqueting to all the road, then hold me dangerous. And then he says, don't discount what I say, Brutus, because I am not somebody who is going about flattering every person that I see, and I am not someone who will befriend everyone and vow my friendships to everyone. I'm not that kind of a person. My opinions matter. My thoughts matter. So don't think otherwise of what I'm going to say. And if I am telling this to you, that means I really believe, and not just me, there are a whole lot of other people who believe in this. He cleverly uses metaphors, right? Comparing himself to a mirror reflecting Brutus's greatness. And this persuasion, it kind of starts planting the seeds of doubt in Brutus's mind. Trumpets play and then a shout sounds. Brutus, what means the shouting? I do fear the people choose Caesar for their king. So Brutus actually shows a little concern. He says, what is the shouting for? Are the people choosing Caesar to be their king? I mean, he is also worried about Caesar's rise to absolute power, and that one line is enough for Cassius to hold on to it. Hey, do you fear it? Then must I think you would not have it so? So he says, oh, that means you're scared of it. Then shall I interpret it that you also don't want Caesar to be king? Brutus, I would not, Cassius, yet I love him well. But wherefore do you hold me here so long? What is it that you want, that you would impart to me? If it be aught toward the general good, set honor in one eye and death in the other, and I will look on both indifferently. For let the gods so speed me as I love the name of honor more than I fear death. So Brutus tells Cassius that, of course I don't want Caesar to be the king, Cassius, but of course I also equally love him dearly. Then he questions Cassius that, why are you keeping me here for so long? What is it that you actually want to tell me? He says, if it is for the good of Rome, he says, I will do anything. So, he says, I love Caesar, but I love Rome more. Not that I love Caesar less, but that I love Rome more. The very classic dialogue of Brutus that encapsulates his entire emotion. He says, if it is for the general good of Rome, I will do anything, even if it means that it will cost my life. So, that's the kind of invested that he is in the good of Rome. So despite his personal admiration for Caesar, he's troubled by the idea of absolute power, and he's worried that that absolute power might corrupt Caesar. And that Cassius's manipulation and the brewing doubts in Brutus's mind, it sets the stage for the conspiracies that will later unfold.